Hello and welcome to Sovereign RPG. I am Sovereign and today we are talking about faction cruisers and how they fare in different aspects of the game.
Warp drive active.
Firstly, I want to thank you all for watching. Remember to like and sub if you haven't already to your one-stop shop for everything Eve Echoes. And remember that we do have a Patreon set up and the join button set up if you would like to actually support the channel. So today is the start of my ranking series where I go over different ship types in Eve Echoes from frigates to battleships. We will be starting off with the super expensive faction cruiser line. Please let me know down below if you agree or disagree with these opinions. I welcome all the feedback. If you've been thinking about building or purchasing one of these bad boys, this list will help you to decide which, in my opinion, tops the charts. Keep in mind, this list will likely change after the major November update, but through testing, nothing major except DPS has really changed for these ships. For PvE, my personal standings are as follows. In the S tier, we have the Phantasm. Currently the PvE god, at least in my opinion, can clear everything in the game with ease. If you would like to see the fit I use for this ship, there will be a card at the top and the video linked in the description. It has great DPS, amazing speed, and a more than adequate tank. Currently, in my opinion, the best faction ship for PvE. The only issue I have with this ship so far is that it's boring as hell just pressing auto lock after every 7 kills. In the A tier we have the Gila. It has the range, it has a decent amount of DPS, and can clear all content but requires more attention as the tank is not as reliable as that of the Phantasm. The Gila will likely take the hot spot when the new patch releases, but we will have to wait and see how it truly turns out. Now in the B tier we have both the Cynical and the Vigilant. Both of these ships are amazing in their own right, especially in PvP, which you will see later in the rankings, but they just fall short of having the tools necessary to take those top tiers in PvE. And finally, we have the Dead tier, the Ashimu. Currently this ship is lacking a tank with only 4 lows, with no bonus to prop mods, bonuses relying heavily on NOS and Newts, which in PvE equate to nothing with the complete lack of high DPS in PvE. Sadly, this ship doesn't look like it will fare much better once all of the E-War is introduced in November either. Now on to solo PvP. In the S tier we have the Vigilant. With this ship's bonuses to E-War in Warp Disruption optimal range and Web Strength optimal range, this ship was made to go solo. Mixed with an MWD, you can keep this ship at max range of your weapons while keeping your target slowed and disrupted the entire time. A really amazing ship for controlling the fight and a lot of fun to play. In the A tier we have both the Cynical and the Phantasm. With the Cynnical's bonuses to warp speed, you can find a target moving through a system and warp straight past them, waiting on the other side of a gate for them to come through. If you see someone warping to the sun, follow them in warp and warp ahead of them to land first. High DPS output and a tracking bonus really lets this ship shine in solo PvP. The Phantasm has an amazing tank, great tracking, and the speed to catch most targets with their AB bonuses, and get right in their faces. Their DPS can be surprisingly high even with resist rigs plugged, and it's an all-round amazing ship. The only issue it has is the lack of utility for solo PvP. No web or disruptor bonuses, no warp speed, but it is still a powerful ship. In the B tier we have the Gila. The Gila is currently low on the list, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It does however lack any utility at all. With a weaker tank than the Phantasm and lackluster DPS as the game is still missing faction or storyline variants of the drones themselves, the ship can solo, but there are better options. And again, in the Dead tier we have the Ashimu. For soloing, this ship lacks a low slot for a prop mod, and if you do fit a prop mod, you miss out on the tank or the DPS. If you fit defense rigs, you miss out on a lot more DPS. The mid slots are there for NOS Newts, which take away from the disruption power of the ship could have, basically rendering its viability mute. The DPS is also quite lackluster, and going against any armor ships you won't be able to outlast them. So now we move on to small gang PvP. This is your 2 to 5 pilot fleets. In the S tier we have both the Ashimu and the Vigilant. Vigilant for the same reason it's my number 1 solo PvP ship. Its utility is amazing. Now you might be shocked to see that the Ashimu made it into any tier other than the Dead tier. If this ship is coupled with an Armor Guardian to prop up its resists and defense to be able to add a prop mod or any tackle ship, the Ashimu explodes with potential, rendering ships useless with its massive nuke bonuses. The Ashimu really does shine in a group setting and is a must-have for all expensive small gang roams. In the A tier we have the Cynical. The Cynical packs massive DPS and tackling power with its warp speed, but lacks the utility of the Ashimu and Vigilant in this setting. But coupled with a tackle support, you're looking at a massive powerhouse of DPS. In the B tier we have both the Phantasm and Gila. I love the Phantasm, everybody knows, it's a great ship. but lacks the DPS of the Cinnabal and the utility of the Ashimu and Vigilant in this style of play. There are better options. Same for the Gila, with the lack of ECM drones and any utility bonuses, it's good, but not great. And finally, we have the large gang PvP, which is 1 to 2 fleets. In the S tier, we have the Phantasm, the Vigilant, and the Ashimu. When it comes to utility and large fights, you cannot beat the Phantasm, Vigilant, and Ashimu. What the Phantasm lacked in small gang PvP, it makes up for in the shield field for the large gang PvP. Coupled with Logi and its absolutely staggering tank, this ship truly shines in this situation. If you have a sniper fleet, if you want to fit them for more DPS, stick them behind a Phantasm bubble and melt whatever comes into range. The Vigilant and Ashimu, as previously said, both have great utility and are up here for the same reasons as a small gang. In the A tier, we have the Cinnabal and Gila. The Cinnabal doesn't really shine in the utility department for large gang fleets, but what it does not have in that department, it makes up for in raw DPS. The Gila lacks the DPS of the Cinnabal, but it makes up for it with the Omni DPS of missiles, the application on smaller ships, and the range of drones. But both of these ships lack what is brought by their 3 sister ships. And that's all we have for today. I hope this list is useful and helps you in making a decision on using any of these ships. Remember that this is just my opinion, and there will be others who feel differently, and I welcome that. EVE is a game where nothing is ever truly the best in everyone's hands. Let me know down below if you think any of these ships are put in the wrong spots. Like and sub if you haven't already, fly safe, and avoid local chat scams.